So obviously we're going through massive transformation around the world. We can see this with the levels of uncertainty, the wars that are going on, and just everything seems to be in this massive transition. And through this process, a lot of people are taking strain. And it's this trauma that many of us think won't end, or we're scared that the world we're going to go back to is going to be much worse than the world we come from. But I don't think so. And I have been doing research around this concept of positive disintegration. I mean, what a great term that I've just read in an article. And it's all about this concept of post-traumatic growth. And it's through trauma that we actually evolve to become the best versions of ourselves, developing better relationships, more empathy, more patience, more kindness, and pretty much every characteristic that we look up to is brought about through process of deep pain. And like they say in the article, positive disintegration. There's two things that we need to be doing to be able to go through this process of trauma in the best way possible. One is for us to have low levels of anxiety as we're going through it. Now, obviously, this is bringing up a lot of anxiety, but when we apply ourselves in a positive disintegration process, we have to understand that anxiety and bringing more anxiety to the party isn't really going to solve the problem. The second thing we need to do, and this is another term I love, is we need low levels of experiential avoidance. We need to experience the process as much as we can, sit in that sadness and that anger and that frustration and that bewilderment, and then it fades, it moves away, and it actually dissolves around us. Another thing that I read about in this article was doing freestyle writing and art is a wonderful way to be able to come out of this process and retune our brains as we're going through this. And remember that anxiety is just a habit. It's a lack of emotional fitness. Now, if you go for a run or if you go for a cycle and you can't catch your breath, the thing is that you're physically unfit. When you're anxious and can't get out of an anxious mode, what has happened is that you become emotionally unfit. And it's a process of unwinding to develop new habits and rituals. And remember, the process of anxiety is just the default button that we have chosen as a society in a space of uncertainty where we're hitting a fight or flight process. The future is uncertain as it always has been. It's just more uncertain than ever before. And for us to get a grip of it, we have to understand positive disintegration. We have to really believe in post-traumatic healing and realize that wisdom is only brought about by healed pain. So now that we're going through this traumatic space in this transition from the old world to the new world, ask yourself how much time you're giving yourself for new input, because it's only new input that gives you new output. And so when people are taking strain, they keep doing the same thing, hoping that the future will change when they haven't really changed any new input. So for me, it's new input, being a more magnanimous about the approach of growth, realizing that positive disintegration is necessary for this ability to grow wiser and really look into the future with more positive expectations rather than this negative one that most of us have. I myself am going through this like everybody else, but applying myself as often as possible to this type of thinking, reading up on research like this, and writing about the new world and the new possibilities helps me tune myself in a different way. So ask yourself, what new inputs are you putting in? And if you're constantly anxious, what are you actually doing about becoming less anxious, besides drinking a bottle of wine or doing whatever else you do? It's a tough time. Let's not kid. But the truth is, the fitness that we will need to be able to come out of this is our own responsibility. So surround yourself with coaches, with people who understand this, read new things, expose yourself to people who understand the process of becoming emotionally fit, and do the work, because that's the only thing that's going to get us through this. Positive disintegration. What a wonderful term.